Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Mariner of Spirit. I'm Greg. I'm your host. It's Friday night. It's like a week out of Christmas. Uh, Brandon's out of state somewhere. I have my guest on, ready to go. I think it's about time that I did another session with this gentleman like we did the first time we talked. And what's really interesting about him is that he keeps on excelling at what he's doing. And without further ado, I'm just going to bring him in because here's Austin Maynard.
What's up? How's it going?
Welcome, Austin.
Thank you. How you doing?
We can go ahead and we don't have to start out with the Go Bears until later on. But
you know what's crazy is that I'm going to the game on Sunday.
Are you really?
Yeah, dude. The tickets are like $25 a piece. Like I spent $120 on 3 tickets.
That's insane.
And they're like probably. I mean, they're up in the grandstands, but like it's a nice, solid view of the field, like from the 30 or 40-yard line. It's pretty nice.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
Like $40 to go. So I was like, okay, it's gonna be 50 too. It's gonna be nice.
Oh man, you'll do it. You'll have a great time, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Especially they won 2 in a row. Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go. Right?
Let's make this another one. That's for
yes, sir.
But anyway, I know you've been doing a lot of work the last couple of years with a gentleman from Ghost Adventures, and who's Nick Graff, who's gone off on his own, and he's done a great job. And he went ahead and he asked your help in going ahead and doing some of your work as far as machines and that are concerned. Is there anything that you can sort of mention to us about what you were working on and how they affected, or was it something that he asked you to build?
It was actually so what had happened was Nick and his cousin Justin came out to one of my locations at the time. Well, they ended up coming out to like 3 or 4 initially, but when they came, because I had met and kind of worked with Nick before in a way, and so we I just kind of asked him, like, hey, you mind if I set up 1 or 2 things for you, to use? He's like, oh yeah, man, that'd be great. And so I set up I set up like a laser audio transmitter experiment, and I had some interesting results with it. And I was like trying to push him, like, dude, you should have a tech manager. And I think that him and Justin liked the idea of it. And me and Dan Class, great friends. Dan knows me very well, and I guess he vouched for me, and kind of how it went. But
that's the history, huh?
Basically, I mean, Nick. Well, a lot of it had to do with the fact that Nick and I have, Nick's known me for a number of years, so like, that kind of helped with it, because he has a very small circle, and he doesn't let many people into that circle, especially because of all the things that he's been through. But I appreciate the hell out of it. I feel very blessed to have the opportunity, honestly, and I feel like I owe Dan Class my life sometimes. Amazing guy, but yeah, no, that's kind of how it happened.
I think we've passed each other a couple of times, me and Dan, but I've never met him. I've never talked to him. I've never been introduced to them, so
You know.
it's
Well,
like, it's one of those things that happens down the road, and you go, wow, that he would be one of those
right,
people that I thought about for the last 3 years. I have had his name, but I didn't want to go ahead and have him on without having anybody else that would help break the ice with him, because
right.
I don't know that much about him. But
I mean,
you mentioned
you go ahead.
this you mentioned this laser
Mhm. Audio
earlier.
transmitter.
Okay, can you go ahead and describe to everybody exactly what that was?
Yeah. So the idea is essentially because when light has frequencies, right, and they have wavelengths, and the when you use a laser audio transmitter is essentially taking audio frequencies and passing them, making them travel along with the laser light. It's kind of like riding the wave frequencies. It's really weird, but it really works best with like a red laser, just because of the fact that a red laser has a really long wavelength, so it travels easier. And so basically, you're just transmitting audio from one side of the room to a receiver on the other end. And I just like it because it's mixing the audio frequencies with the light frequencies, you know?
Okay, so when you did that, you said something happened.
Oh, well, I had an optical theremin. You know, an optical theremin is like a theremin kit, and a theremin kit is like the what's the old show, like the old Twilight Zone, like
Somewhere I've heard this.
yeah. It's like the old creepy music. Like you get close to it and you can like play it like just by getting close to it. And a junior theremin is what most of these REM pods are. You get close to it, it plays a note, back off, right? Um, so like this one works off of changes in light. Now it'll have a rotating light on a light that kind of like cycles through the colors, and it'll go from like red up to green up to or down to blue or whatever. And so as the light changes, the tone changes. So, but it kind of has this siren sound, just kind of like an up and down sound, and it's just constant and repetitive. So when there's a change in that tone or that siren sound, it's very, very noticeable. And that's actually what had happened. We had set this thing up in the basement at the junior high school, the Defiance Junior High School building. And that's one of the episodes, I think, is season 3. We set this thing up down in the boiler room, and it was shooting from like the boiler to the like the janitor's, the old caretaker's bedroom area, and he heard a very clear difference in the siren, and I'm pretty sure they captured it and put it on the episode. And like when that happens, the only way that this thing will change its tone is by the light. So when you're in a pitch dark, pitch black room and this thing is just doing that. Now, what's crazy about these optical sensors is that you could shine an IR light on it and it will do a super high pitch frequency. And so like you don't even have to be able to see the light. So you're talking, this thing can detect x-rays, it can detect UV, IR, like the entire light spectrum. It can pick up a change, which is wild. And so it apparently the tone went off a little bit in the siren, and that's kind of what happened, you know. But there were some other things I did too. Other experiments that I set up for him in a couple other episodes. I think like the old Bryan jail, the granary, that's where he kind of started using my ghost helmet. Is that the granary? That was a cool episode too. But yeah.
Do you have anything you want to tell people about your ghost helmet?
It's
What
the
makes it
same.
tick?
Well, my ghost helmet is KD's ghost helmet. So not necessarily. I mean, I can say all I know is that it creates like a rotating magnetic field on the left side and the right side of your brain, trying to like almost in a way create like a hemisync kind of deal, like syncing the left and the right sides of your brain so that you can like it's supposed to help with put you in a better meditative state of mind, like your frequency is lower or something.
What are your limits as far as you would say for how long a person would use that helmet at one sitting?
Man, I mean
14 hours.
I mean, I don't like to go over like 30 minutes. Like I think there's a limit, but I guess I've heard of people that have worn one for like an hour, 2 hours. I can't remember. There was somebody that oh man, there was somebody, apparently KD was telling me about this, that like somebody wore it for like 3 or 4 hours straight. And like
That's Reggie.
That's Reggie? Who's Reggie?
I think that was Reggie. Reggie is my partner for 2 shows that we do during the week.
Okay.
And he bought the last one from Katie.
Oh, then that wouldn't have been him because this was like one, like he like he told me this story like early on, like before I even got mine, and I got mine like freaking what? It's about to be 2024. Holy crap!
Yeah.
I think I got mine in like 2018 or 2019.
Wow.
So I've had it.
Go ahead.
I think he's only at the time he had only built like 1 or 2 other ones. So I have like the 3rd one or something, but mine I actually had to pick out like the Optimus Prime style freaking cosplay mask, and then he just did it out of that, and I was like, that's cool. So I got a Optimus Prime one.
So you use it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
yeah. Depends
when
on
you're
the moment.
talking about, enhancing a meditative state, is this before or after you would do an investigation?
I mean, personally, I would recommend before or even possibly during. The whole idea, though, with the ghost helmet is that you have to be kind of like you have to be isolated. You're supposed to be basically alone. I mean, you could have a camera or a recorder kind of thing, but like you don't want interaction. You don't want to be able to do any of that. You're just sitting alone in a room with the helmet on and just supposed to be able to experience whatever you're going to experience. Like, that's part of the whole point of the hemisync. And I mean, people have had kind of crazy experiences with it, apparently. But I don't. I mean, I think it's about documenting it all, and it's hard because people tend to want to ask questions and stuff, and it's not supposed to be about that. Like, it's almost supposed to be like about astral projection in a way. Like, if you can like get it, like if you use it as one piece of it, right? Like you could use it as one piece and try to put yourself, like if you had the because we had the what is it, the eye mask or the face mask or whatever for sleeping, but it had the LEDs inside. Okay. And so like it was supposed to be oneironautics or lucid dreaming, right?
They were blue, right?
Oh, they were red.
They were red?
They were red LEDs. Because they're
So
supposed
now,
to be able to like they're supposed to be subtle enough to like under like to be able to shine through your eyelid but not wake you up. You don't want it to be too bright, but you want to be able to see those lights.
so
And
it was like the Gensfeld then.
in a way, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Gensfeld was like way more elaborate. Like this is just kind of a basic, you know what I mean? But even like JW is working on that too, like with the gateway process and the World Gate experiment that he keeps posting about. And we did that for the show too, man. That's fucking wild. I can't wait for everybody to see season 4 for real.
He's another man. When I get an opportunity to get him on, I would love to have you come on with him, because
For sure.
that would be really great.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
I don't know what the heck this is supposed to be.
It wouldn't happen for like 3 or 4 months though, because he just went down to Texas.
He's going to be down there for quite some time. Does he just go down there to chill, or?
Yeah, he's got friends and they got friends and family down there. So like for the winter, because they live in Maine. They live like all the way at the very tip top of Maine, like across the water is Nova Scotia, apparently.
Oh, that's great.
So this time of year, like JW would have liked to have been down out of Maine by like halfway through November, no later, right? But they got delayed. Then the snow hit really bad up there, so now everything froze over, so they couldn't even get out of there till like Tuesday. It's crazy, man. So like he wants to get out of there down to Texas, and because he's a Marine, man, a former Marine, and he took the meds, he did all the stuff, and so now he's got the problems, right? I mean, a lot of veterans can say that he took the pills and he just did what you're told, right? But now he's got some effects.
Well,
and so like his joints, like really, really, really freaking bad, especially like in the cold. Like his whole body will lock up and he'll just fall over. Like it's crazy, dude. So like he needs him, you know what I mean? It's like he's got to get out of there.
I think he was in Vietnam too.
No, he was
he was later on Afghanistan or Iraq.
He was post Vietnam. I'm pretty sure he was post Korean War too.
Wow.
He was in the Marines in the 90s.
Okay,
The
so
80s and the 90s, something like that.
90s is when they went down into the islands down there and they had that Grenada invasion.
Yeah. I don't want to speak for him because I don't.
No,
I
understand, but I'm just trying to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I mean, the sad part is that he's told me these stories a million fucking times, and I just never. I'm a bad friend sometimes. I feel like,
I'll tell you what. When you come home and you're going through things, and you have issues, and then you go to the VA, and they give you things to help you out, and then the next thing you know, it's like, oh my God.
You're a veteran too, aren't you? Are you a veteran? Yeah. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
So, were you in the Marines, or were you in the Navy or the Army, or what?
I was the Army.
You were the Army?
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have to take, like, did they ever give you medication and you just took it? Like, because that's what you were supposed to do?
This really happened.
Okay.
We got called into the day room, and the day room was a place that had a pool table in it.
Mm-hmm.
And there were like 7 or 8 of us that were called in, and I worked at the APO. So my first 4 months over there, I flew in and out of country.
Okay.
So I was in Thailand and going into Vietnam on a daily basis because I was bringing the mail and dispatches and whatever else we would have on a Huey.
Right.
Actually, when I left Thailand, I would take a 130 to Tan Son Nhut, and then I would go ahead and distribute and get on a good old
Right.
Huey and go out to these fire bases.
Okay.
And we were called in in one afternoon, and this was after I had done, the new guy stuff. So the new guy stuff was me going into there every day, okay, which wasn't a real cool thing to do.
You did the bitch work, right? You kind of became the bitch because you were the rookie.
I was the new guy. Okay.
Fair enough.
The first day you walk in, you think, "Oh, this is really going to be choice," because I'm going to get off that airplane. I'm going to go into that APO at Tan Son Nhut, and I'm going to throw my bags on the floor. I'm going to grab the other thing of whatever they are, dispatches or whatever, and I'm going to hand them to the sergeant, and I'm going to go ahead and say, "Okay, Sarge, I'll see you tomorrow." And I turn around, and as I was turning around, and he says, "Hey, new guy." And I thought, "Oh no, that's the way it starts." And that was 4 months worth.
Okay.
And then at the end of the 4 months, I'm in the Gulf of Siam. I'm in a place in southern Thailand. I'm living in a hooch that's very similar to one of those, how could you say, like a cabin on stilts?
Like a TP almost, or
No, but it had the dragon.
Not a wigwam, right?
No, it's not. No, this is Oriental, and
okay.
I had a bridge. I had a bridge that I had to cross to get to it.
Yeah,
because there was water underneath, and that was my hooch. And I had a hooch girl, and she cost $5 a month, and
she just delivered hooch to you every.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't hooch. No, that the bill we called the buildings hooches.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, it sort of had that dragon stuff in the corners where they were
okay.
The hooks that went up.
Gotcha.
See the Japanese.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
I'm thinking like alcohol. Like he's just getting. Okay.
It was so crazy. I never had the opportunity to leave anything on the floor.
Just got it.
I'd get up in the morning, and I'd go ahead and I would, dirty clothes, I'd have them and I'd put them in the corner, drop them out the side of the bed or whatever.
Right.
I'd come home that night and everything was put away. All my boots were spit shined. My jungle fatigues were always pressed. It was like, where the hell did she learn where did she do that? Number one, because she lived in this little building that was underneath the mountain pretty much. And on top of the mountain was where the reclining Buddha was. So you would hear the chanting in the afternoon and evening.
Okay.
Of the monk.
That's kind of cool, though. That's kind of cool, though.
And you'd hear the bell, and then you'd hear the chanting.
Right.
So you would always wonder, who was coming down the hill.
Right.
But it was that kind of stuff that went on. But I know that I had a crazy opportunity to have gone into some places that really had a lot of heavy. When you talk about people getting annihilated, and the embassy in Saigon happened to be
disappear kind of thing.
That was the one that was overrun by in Tet.
Oh, okay.
The first year they ran TET, and they were overrun, and there was only one guy, one Marine was a survivor. That's all that survived that when they overran the embassy. And
Let him live to tell the story.
I've seen him, but it was one of those feelings that you get, that now we get them when we go to haunted locations. That overwhelming dread, or it's
like something's not right.
Oh, it's bad. It's you just get a bad feeling about it when you walk into it now in the locations, and instantly that there's something more to this place than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Locations, and you have a lot of location that you've sort of set up, right?
Yeah, we just kind of manage the tours, the bookings, and stuff like that for them. We do cleanup days, we do labor volunteer stuff. So yeah.
So, how many of those did you set up?
We got 7 right now.
And they're all in Ohio?
6 are in Ohio, and 1 is in Kentucky.
Where's one in Kentucky?
It's in Maysville, actually. It's the old Murphy building, the GC Murphy building, which was a big 5 and dime. But the crazy thing is that, like, Maysville, if anybody knows anything about Maysville, it's like built by it's literally built on slavery. Like, the entire town is basically, it was a big stop in the Underground Railroad. And one thing that we know is that the building was there prior to the GC Murphy company taking it over. And so I guess it's hard to find history prior to that with the building itself specifically. But it's possible that, when it was built, it was definitely built by slaves. Right. And I guess I don't know the specifics if like any slaves died or anything like that building it. But I know like right down the street is Hazelwood Hospital, and that was built by actually that was not built by slaves. That was more recent. But Phillips Folly, which is the Kentucky slave house from Ghost Adventures, right? Down in Maysville, that one was built in like I want to say like 1820 or 1830 something, like early. So so I don't know, man. They have had some stuff going on over there, man, like things because it's basically a giant antiques emporium. It's an antique emporium. So that could probably play a big part of it, I'm assuming. So I don't really know. I guess I have not had the opportunity to go down there and do proper research from my side because it's like 4 hours away from me. I've gotten out there once, and I'm definitely gonna be back out there again this year, a couple more times, I hope. We're working with some other locations too that we haven't really announced yet. But we're hoping to be able to announce them soon. But right now it's just 7, yeah.
That's really interesting. There's a question here from Tim Lovejoy, and I'm going to post it. I use the Zepp theremin to an external amplifier with effects on some locations.
The Zepp theremin. I guess I haven't heard of a Zepp theremin. Maybe I've seen one, but I don't.
Middle Point School.
That's one of my places.
Is that Ohio?
Yep, that's one of ours.
Is that over? That's right over by next door to the one that a week ago. Oh God, I can't think of the name of it now.
Paulding?
Huh?
Paulding Jail? The Paulding Jail?
No, school. There's another school.
Oh, Liberty.
No.
Liberty City School or something. Posttown?
Posttown.
Yeah, Posttown. It is actually like a couple hours away, I think.
Is it really from Middle Point?
Yeah, because it's actually just outside of Middletown, Ohio, or I think it's in Middletown, or Poasttown is like a division of Middletown. It's weird how it is, but yeah, like
But
basically,
Middle Point School is that far away, so it's got no association with those other two.
Mhm.
Okay,
Nope.
I thought just because it's had middle in it, and that, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, it's
And
called.
Ohio has a lot of buildings that are, look at all the buildings that are right across the road there. I mean, you got Mansfield
Yep, that's right.
Reformatory, and then you've got Poasttown Elementary.
Yep,
You
that's
know,
also correct. Sorry, I'm trying to find a charger real quick because apparently my phone is dying.
oh, don't have your phone die.
Found one. Found one. We're good. Hopefully,
So
maybe.
it wasn't really a question. He was just making a statement that he uses that.
I guess so.
So theremin to an external amplifier with effects on some location. What kind of effects you think
Probably echo and reverb and noise reduction of some sort.
Okay. But that's what he was using to go ahead and help separate it all.
Probably, I guess I don't know exactly what Tim's experiments are. I haven't.
So is he, Tim?
Yeah, I've met him a couple times, and I know that him and my partner Mike Ring, he's they've worked together a few times. So yeah.
So if I sound like the real stupid one, that's because I am, as far as all this stuff is concerned. I run machines, and that's the extent of it. Don't give me wires, and do what Boston does, because you would see my fingers all black, and they would look like they were disintegrated by a ray gun. Flash Gordon movie.
Oh, geez.
Because
Nah, man, you'd be able to do it.
no,
You'd be able to do it just fine.
not with the tremors. No.
Oh shit, dude, I suffer from tremors too, but I'm like super early on it. It's crazy. Like I can't like fully hold my hand completely still. Like it's not bad right now, but I'm only 32. But
Wait, hopefully by the time you get a little older, they'll have a real grasp on it, and you won't have to worry about anything. You know what I mean?
hope so. Oh, you mean like treatment wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because they use a lot of meds for not only for handling that, but also for going ahead and handling pain. So I got a couple crushed vertebrae in my neck, and those and the tremors caused me to have to go ahead and take quite a bit of things that I'm starting to not look too favorably on them anymore.
Yeah. See, I mean, I mean, I have medication that I take that helps me kind of mellow out.
Chill.
Yeah, it's and yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know how we got.
really,
I don't know how we got on medicine all of a sudden.
I don't know. It's because I asked about like when you were in the military, did they ever make you take any medications that
Oh, and I never even finished that story.
and you weren't supposed to like ask about like you didn't ask what you were taking, you were just fucking taking.
It was like the only thing that we said. We had to go into the day room, and they said, "Drop your pants." And we dropped our pants, and we had to hold on to the bumpers on the pool table, and they had needles. They had some bigger needles, and they gave us all a shot in her keister.
And you don't know.
No instructions, no nothing. And then go about your business. And it was like.
So, do you believe that has had any kind of lasting effect on you?
I have no clue. All I know is that it wasn't too far down the road after that, when I came home, that I saw a movie by the name of Jacob's Ladder.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen the movie, you would have to see the movie to understand what kind of frame of mind I was in after I saw the movie.
Okay.
Scared the, you know what? Not that all that crap over there did anything. It's the same thing, but it was, I didn't expect anything like that to happen after I got home.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But yeah. And I think like a lot, that's something that is not so much addressed at all. Cause like, my grandfather was in the Vietnam War, suffered from pancreatic cancer because of Agent Orange. And, but like, at the time, like they didn't tell anybody about that. It just kind of happened and devastated generations of the Vietnamese people. But it also devastated a lot of our soldiers too. Like a lot of our soldiers ended up getting cancer of various forms. But like, who knows what that injection that they gave you might have done, like long term. I mean, any of the health problems that you may have run into in your life or that you may run into in your life, you don't know. It's hard. But what are you gonna say, right?
And not only that was that, there were like 700 guys where I was at. So out of those 700 guys, there wasn't one other guy that I knew that was on that pool table.
So you didn't know the other guys that were there? They probably did that for a reason. I don't know what that reason. I guess so that people wouldn't talk. They're very good about that, apparently.
But that was the end of that story. That's where that went. And I have the same thing because I have orange, and I have skin cancer, and I have all this crap that's going on. And
so you got the Agent Orange too?
Yeah.
Or you were exposed to it? Yeah, my grandfather has been fighting. Like, I guess he won the initial benefits, but then they have recently been sending him letters about like they need to prove that his cancer was related to the Agent Orange. I know, right? Like JW was fighting for his benefits too. Like they were trying to take his whole thing away because I mean it's a whole that's a different thing.
It's the government. It's the frigging government. Excuse my French, but anyway, let's go back. Let's go back to spirit boxes.
Fair enough.
Now you have a couple ones that you've just put together recently.
I mean, yeah, I've got I actually got 4 that I've put together recently.
Are they all the same, or they're all different? They have different.
No, there's a couple of let me go grab it. Hold on.
Sure. Jamie Lynn Keller says that she got the best red laser from Austin.
Red laser.
Yeah.
Red laser. Huh. I'm not exactly sure. Red laser. What the hell would that have?
That's what it says. I got the best red laser from Austin. It's probably the same kind of thing as,
I'm trying to think. Like what?
Were you at Broadhead? Did you go to Broadhead?
I went to the Glen Beulah. I went to the Glen Beulah schoolhouse and the Great Lakes Paracon.
Okay, that's where she would have saw you.
Yeah, I met her there. I can't remember, but I don't remember if she bought something from me there or if she had bought something prior. And also, I don't remember what. I remember I was working with green lasers
Okay.
with the laser tripwires for a while. The problem is I jump around so much, like it's hard. You know what I mean? It's hard to keep up with everything.
Holy cow! That was a skull.
Yeah, you like that? All right, I'll start with the skull then. So it's kind of an odd shaped box because I just started building and this is what kind of happened. But essentially this is one of these motion activated skulls that like talks. And what I did was I just I have all the ghost box and everything, all the components inside of the skull and all of the the switches and everything on the back here. I got a speaker right here in this thing right here, and then there's another speaker in the back. But I can turn this is still motion activated. So I could turn this on and it's facing away from the speaker so that you could kind of like set it down. And if something passes in front of it, it'll just like, it'll move its mouth and light up. But I cut the speaker from it. So it's not it won't make a whole bunch of like, noise, like audio track that's in it already. It would just be moving its mouth and lighting up. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a 2-in-1 type thing. I thought it was cool.
How many of those have you made?
This is the only one I've made.
That's the 1 in a million right there, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't say 1 in a million. It's one of one. Like I don't know. It's just I think it could be better. Like it could look better, but I think it's kind of cool.
Oh, it is.
It's just a motion activated skull and a ghost box in one.
Scare the shit out of the ghosts.
And I don't know. I've always liked the idea of having like multiple things in one box. And that's why, I love working with JW because, the 2K boxes and the direct link, there's just so much you can do with them. But the 2K boxes specifically, he's got different kind of static indicators and detectors, lasers, all kinds of stuff, just all in one big box. Or actually not even a big box. It's like this, I don't know, probably about the size of an outdoor speaker. Not that huge. I like the idea, so that's why I just did this one.
Did he ever share with you why he wanted to go ahead and do it that way?
Oh yeah, I mean, he always just wanted kind of a Swiss Army knife type of device. Yeah,
that's really cool. When you really think about it.
Yeah. And then there's this one. It's just like a little. Runs up at 9 volts, and I don't have a 9 volt anywhere near me right now, but yeah, it's just AM FM shortwave. Another small. I actually have 2 of these, but this one doesn't have the flashlight working for some reason, so I don't know.
Maybe that's what ran your battery down, huh?
No, I just don't know where the batteries are. I think they're.
So those. Does that a linear sweep or is that a random sweep?
Oh, they're both linear. I'm not at the level of random yet. That's something that's a bit beyond my training, my abilities. But yeah, I mean, the only people I know. I mean, Katie Halte does it, KD does it, and JW does it, but I don't have that ability, unfortunately. I just make my sweeps fast and sound good, I guess, as best as I can. And I try to make them look cool and unique so that at least there's some creativity involved, right?
that box you just brought up there though, that's
The red one?
yeah, that's a pretty cool color. That's how it came before you gutted it.
Yeah. Yeah. But what I did was where it goes right here. It actually I added echo and reverb to it too.
Wow.
So it's just all of it just in this, and I just put a little 9-volt battery holder there. Plug it in and it powers the entire thing.
Now, when you were talking about J, you said JW.
Mhm.
You mentioned the word, and I already forgot the word, but it's what he has been working on.
Oh, the Project Worldgate.
Can you explain that to everybody?
Shit, I'll try. It's so complex, it's crazy, but I guess like it's kind of a combination of ancient rituals and practices and like frequencies from that they would make like with their drum beats or with the different instruments that they would use or whatever. But then numbers from that too, because it all has numbers involved. It's all like if anything, it's binary, right? So those numbers all go into this formula, but he also added in the formula from the gateway process, which is actually recently declassified, or not recently declassified. I don't know how long ago it was declassified, but it was declassified by the CIA. It was something that was done by the Monroe Institute. I don't even remember when it was done, like the 60s or 70s. And it was all about the process of hemisync, syncing the left and the right side of your brain, and being fed frequencies to be able to travel, so to speak. And I guess it's kind of a form of like artificial astral projection, kind of like almost like inducing it, right? But the way that it's done is through frequencies. Like you have soundproof headphones on, and you got frequencies being fed into each side of your head. And at the same time, you're blindfolded, and JW actually adds like other aspects to the experiment. Like apparently, there's a catalyst experiment, which is basically feeding the frequencies into the atmosphere. So he's got these like giant ass PA speakers that he blasts like these real low infrasound frequencies in out, or yeah, the infrasonic frequencies out from these really low PA speakers, right? And like it's loud as shit. But then there's also 6 speakers set up in specific positions around the location. And like there's so many different aspects to it, but all of it involves a lot of math. And JW could explain it way better than I could. But the whole idea is to basically induce a artificial astral projection, and to be able to either travel, or he has experiments where you can just try to stay in a local realm, is what he calls it, which in a sense is kind of just like investigating on the other side kind of a deal, right?
So you're calling them, in other words, right? With the frequencies, calling, you would be calling.
No. So the frequencies that are going into the atmosphere are more or less to condition the environment. So once the environment is conditioned, but like that's just basically feeding frequencies into the atmosphere, sound frequencies. And then each participant is wearing soundproof headphones, and they are being fed specific frequencies that are specifically for them. Like it's all based on the math. And so once, like when these people are doing, when it's all done at the same time, like people have apparently traveled, apparently like, you know, they go to places, they experience things, they see things. Sometimes they can't comprehend them. Other times it's like some of the scariest shit they've ever seen. I mean, it's so crazy. And I'm gonna take the ride for the first time in April, so I'm gonna find out what it's really like. But there's just the amount of element to it, like all the different aspects that go into this project. And like, I mean, he brings out like a 12 or a 15-foot trailer full, and like he sets it up. It's got his entire like 6 different monitors and 16 cameras or something like that, and thousands of feet of cable so he could stretch it all over a location. I mean, it's a huge operation.
Well, I'm going to say that I'm going to say this: if he needs a guinea pig, okay, you got my name. Okay?
Absolutely, man. Right.
I would love, and the reason I brought that up the way I did, is because of the fact. Remember the one movie? What was that? It was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. When they called, when they had those giant speakers. Remember?
Yeah.
They had to play the beats, that being.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
And that's kind of it's kind of the same thing, but not used the same way.
Okay.
Like that's more or less trying to send frequency signals in their Close Encounters. But this was more or less trying to vibrate the atmosphere, the wavelengths in the atmosphere, to where they're kind of shaken. Well, yeah, that, or kind of just shaken up, loosened, if you will, so that when the rest of the experiment happens, it's easier. It kind of is easier to manipulate, I guess.
That is
if that makes sense.
That is just so cool.
It's wild, man. And so, like, part of like we're starting to work on this, or we're like planning out this documentary, and we have a few small time investors on it already. Always looking for more guys. But basically what we're doing is we're bringing out Mike, Chris, and Brandon from the Wraith Chasers, and they are going to be coming out for 3 days. And we're actually going to be doing it right here in Bryan, over at at a location that I shouldn't say yet, because
Well,
I mean,
don't say it. That's
no. You know what? I can say it. Fuck it. I can say it. The old granary in Bryan, right? And the only reason we're choosing the granary is because Jay's got a bone to pick with the thing that is there. But we're basically going to be setting up Mike, Chris, Brandon, myself, and I can't remember who. Like, we're still trying to figure out the other people. But basically, it's going to be documenting that entire process, like the setup from start to finish, like everything. And Mike and Chris and Brandon, I mean, like, we're going to have like 3 different experiments over the course of like 5 days. And like the 3 experiments, 2 of them are going to be World Gate, which is essentially like, Jay likes to say it as like, you could just go as far as you want to go. Like, you don't have any limits, like wherever you want to go, because a lot of people will say that once they get over to that other side, like they never have enough time. You know what I mean? Like, they feel like and time is really apparently different over there.
Yeah.
But apparently, like, people are always eager to explore further. And so, like, that's what the whole World Gate is about, is like to be able to do that. But apparently there's aspects of like opening a portal, which Jay doesn't like to use. I mean, we don't like to use that term just because it's like, it's outlandish, but the whole idea is basically to condition the environment just the right way, in hopes that that barrier kind of thins more and more, right?
Has he ever mentioned the word Stargate?
It's no, I mean, I love that shit. The Stargate project. Oh man, I actually knew a former psychic soldier.
But now
He just recently passed, but no, JW hasn't been doing anything with the Stargate stuff. No.
You know Mike Ricksacker?
Yeah.
Okay, Mike.
I mean, I've never met him, but I know who he is. Yeah.
He's from around here, so I've seen him for quite a few years at all the Chicago Paracons when they were still there, and I got to know him quite well. And anyway, when they opened up the pyramids, they were going down, and he has a guide that takes them, and they talk about certain subjects. One of them was Stargate, and they actually will go down like a hall corridor inside one of these pyramids, and all of a sudden there's the emblem above this doorway that goes into this other section of the pyramid, and it's Stargate. It's what the Egyptians called Stargate back in the day.
Well, I don't know if he has. I know that he uses aspects from the ancient Sumerians, ancient Egyptians.
Okay.
He uses the Babylonians. He uses, I guess, some elements from some of the Nazi research too, and elements from the Monroe Institute. Like, there's a bunch of different aspects that he kind of has put together somehow to create what he's created. And I mean, it's still obviously it's still in early stages of exploration, I guess I should say, because none of it, all we know is what people have told us or what people have told him. Like, I guess us too, because we had Nick and Tessa do it too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, season 4, baby. That's right. But so, like, I mean, what they've told us is that is these crazy experiences that like, sometimes, like I said, they don't even know how to comprehend them. But I mean, when the way that Nick and Tessa were talking, I mean, Nick was questioning reality. He was, because he had never done, like, experienced astral projection before, I guess. And putting them into it artificially, I feel like it's different than when you can do it, like, when you fall asleep and you're, like, dreaming, right? Because that's how most astral projection is done. Well, it's typically, right? It's like you fall asleep and then you're still in a lucid dream state and you can just go wherever the hell you want, right? So I guess, yeah, Nick was, like, unsure if he was alive or dead. He was, like, asking if this was real and all this stuff. Like, it was kind of a crazy, like, he was nauseous when we first got back to him. And yeah, I mean, so I'm not sure. I'm nervous.
Yeah, well, you know what? When we first started talking about the helmet, that is the setup for everything else that goes down, including the Gensfeld, or where you actually go ahead and start to astral project. That would be on day 2 after you've been underneath the influence of the God's helmet for whatever that time period is. And then that sort of loosens it up to the point where you can start to, I guess, flow, if you wanted to say it that way.
In a way, I think really the main difference is just what it's electromagnetic frequencies versus.
You just went sideways. Your phone's off. You're frozen. I don't know. Let me see. Call Austin, Maynard. I'm going to try this, everybody, and let's do this. Okay, everybody, I'm trying to go ahead and bring him back, and if he doesn't get back in a couple minutes here, we're going to shut down because we're already past the hour mark, and I don't know if it's going to be advantageous to stay any longer for tonight. I will be having him back on as soon as Jay Prather has an opportunity to come on here, and even Dan Cleese would be another one. And I would love to have a panel of these guys and just do the kind of stuff that we did when I watched the first program, where there were a bunch of box builders that were all together that were talking, and I asked my question about the ticking that was happening, which some of the people that are in the chat knew about from way back in the day, and it was something that was very, very interesting. Adrian is on here. I didn't even see Jenny Sullivan Sanyassi's on here from Ireland. She's a wonderful lady, and she does a great job. Did I catch it in time? I'm still on here. I'm waiting to see if he's going to be able to make it back. I sent him another link, and if that's not the case, Anthony, maybe we ought to get together somewhere and just continue on. I have no capabilities of going ahead and continuing on here unless you can go ahead and start up again the music. That was at 10:10. Does Jay have control participants? That is a great question, and that would be one that I would save for another show, because without getting Austin back on here, and he froze, so I don't know if his phone went out and he froze, or he just froze and lost the signal and got dropped. So, and like I said, it's 24 after we started the show at 9:20, and I would love to go for 2 or 3 hours, but that's not going to happen if we got cut out like this right now. Uh, I would venture to say yes, there would be a control group, and that's exactly what we were talking about before he got knocked out. So Mariah, it's good talking to you, Mariah. I've only seen you a few times. It's great to have you on. Jenny's just a magnificent investigator, and she does great shows. She's on my show last week. She's also always done such an amazing job, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and I'm just going to mention everybody that's gone ahead and been gracious enough to join us. You know, we got George and Dexler, and that's George. We got Carol Garcia, Barbara Woodbury Spear, Carmen Burns. I haven't met Carmen either, I don't think, but welcome, Carmen. Jamie Lynn Keller, Tim Lovejoy, once again, Joanne Stewart, Jamie Lynn Keller, Tim Lovejoy. We got Azriana. Azriana is a great lady. She does a lot of great work. There's some more comments from George. And isolation tanks, yes. Meditation, yes. Texas, yes. So you're in Texas too, George? That's fantastic. Good for you. And then we have, let's see. Okay, Tim Lovejoy says, are you familiar with Mars? I remember Mars when we first came home. It was military auxiliary radio service via HF radio, VHF radio, or phone patching via HF. Mars, we used Mars, we had Mars calls. I do that via my ham radio station here at the house. Cool. Dean Thompson. Good old Uncle Dean. Pagoda. I don't know what Dean, what you mean. Anne Marie Young. George Ann Dexler again. Jenny Sullivan Signasi, Carol Garcia. Again, Anthony the Wraith himself was here, which is pretty cool. Mariah Kanua. Anthony's back. And that's about it, I think. Christ, bring a sword. The end of the here. I'm gonna post this. The Boxer Wars. The 120-year clock to tribulation. Thank you very much. That makes a lot of sense. More sense than what I know. Oriental roof is a pagoda. Well, there you go, Dean. Yes, you're right. So everybody, thanks for being here. I'm gonna cut out and see where we're gonna end up tonight. If we get the opportunity, we will see you next week. I know we're going to have another show on Wednesday night. And hopefully it'll be Katie Stafford, maybe KD will be on, and we'll try to get something going on with some people as far as the Estes are concerned. And then we'll go to next Friday night, and Deidre Sanford is my guest on Friday. So without further ado, y'all have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much for being here. And Carol can go ahead and say something, but I can't remember what it was that she would say. Smile. See you on the 23rd. Yes, for sure, Jenny. All I'll need is a link and a time, and I'll have bells on. That's for sure. You guys all have a wonderful evening. And we're going to end. So have fun. Good night.